Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Interviews, and tonight we're talking about the brand new HBO show based on the best-selling book series. The show is called His Dark Materials. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 1. It is called Lyra's Jordan. I think it's really interesting and kind of a good idea after Game of Thrones and everything that the next fantasy show would be kind of a little more accessible to everyone in the family. I like this idea. When it came up TV 14, I was actually really pleasantly surprised because I've never read the books, don't know anything about them, never saw the movie The Golden Compass. I kind of sometimes like being able to go in fresh on something without any kind of bias towards the book or the source material or anything like that. I did that with The Expanse, Doors and Corners, and I really, really enjoyed The Expanse coming in at it completely blank, because then I don't have any expectations. Watching The Walking Dead and being familiar with that source material and Game of Thrones and things like Harry Potter, it's great that you know the source material in comic books especially. Let's not forget comic books. And so, I love knowing the material, but sometimes, I really don't. But in this case, it's a little double-edged sword here, because I have a very suspicious feeling that a lot of stuff that's on the page is lost in translation here. Because while I did enjoy this quite a bit, I have no idea what's going on. I mean, I have a very basic idea of what's going on. But throughout this whole thing, I am just completely lost. So I can't say, some people might think this episode at least, was kind of boring. For pilot episodes, it's kind of strange to not have, I don't know. This is mostly world building, which is I really dug. The problem is that they didn't tell me enough. They didn't explain enough to me to understand what's going on. I got a lot of names. I got a lot of places. I got a lot of cryptic stuff. But I just kind of don't follow any of what's going on. They're doling out the information without giving us any context. And so hopefully, as the show goes on, they will give us a better understanding of things. Otherwise, I might need to read the book or something. I have a friend that's read all the books, so I might have to pick his brain tomorrow to get some of the information out of him. Hopefully, it's fresh enough. Well, I'm not going to say fresh. Hopefully, he remembers enough from when he read them to give me a little bit of extra information. And I had it over here on purpose so we could talk about this. So I have this has got a really good cast, and I mean, as soon as I heard that Daphne Keane was in this, if you don't know who Daphne Keane is, she was Lara X-23 from Logan, the swan song for Wolverine. This also has James McAvoy, James McAvoy, man. Even in bad things, James McAvoy is great. He's the best parts of some of the more terrible X-Men movies. He was great in Glass. He was great in Split. He was great in Victor Frankenstein, and that movie is just kind of bananas. McAvoy really brings everything to a roll. Also, Clark Peters is in this. I love Clark Peters. If you don't know who I'm talking about, he plays the Master in this. He's from The Wire. And again, this, I feel like it's been said so much. The joke is almost getting new again of how great The Wire is, or was. But Clark Peters and everything he does, he's always great. This also has Ruth Wilson from The Affair and Luther. She's a fantastic actress. I dig her a lot. Who else do we got in here that I can definitely remember? We have the great James Cosmo. James Cosmo, who I first was introduced to him in Braveheart. He played Brendan Gleeson's father in that. The Caliph. He's the guy who took like an axe to like the chest and just kept going. Or was it arrows? I don't know, or probably both. But he's more famous these days as being Lord Commander Mormont on Game of Thrones, one of the more noble characters on that show. He's a fantastic actor. He's in this as well. And interestingly enough, we got another Game of Thrones alum in this first episode. We got Lucien Samadi. I'm going to think that the M is silent. He played Salador San on Game of Thrones, the pirate that was friends with the Onion Knight. Who else is in this? Well, there's more people in this that aren't in this episode. I noticed that Lin-Manuel Miranda was not in this episode as well. But a lot of really, really good people in this involved. And let's just jump in, even though I've been talking already for a little while. So here's, like, this is basically going to be me talking, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say in the comments section. That'll be filling me in. For people that are familiar with the source material, I love when you guys fill me in. Don't spoil anything, but if you have little bits of knowledge that you want to give me to help me out, totally give me the knowledge. Don't give me spoilers. Don't tell me on the road. But like things like, if you want to explain like certain things like names and people and groups, that's perfectly fine to me. So we have this thing. It takes place in like another world. It's fantasy. It's our world, but not our world. That kind of thing. Blah blah blah. That's for the kids. Where they have this thing about, it's called a daemon. I've heard that term before. I think it means different things in different stories. Where it's a human soul taking the form of an animal, like this snow leopard. It's pretty dope. There's a magisterium. I'm thinking that's probably like the government. There's witches. There's something called the Great Flood, where that explains why there was water everywhere when McAvoy brings Lyra, Oxford. And he's got a snow leopard as a name. And he's that's a really cute baby, by the way. I almost feel like that was a CGI face, because that baby was like almost like a generated cuteness. So we jump 12 years ahead. She's running around this place. They take us to this crypt that's like straight out of Assassin's Creed. We bookend that too. She ends up there at the end, and nothing comes of that scene, like why she went down there. But I really wished that they'd done something more with that, because that's an expensive like set to put together, this big empty hall that, I mean, it literally looks like one of the tomb areas in Assassin's Creed. They spent some money on this, and it feels like some of these sets, unless they plan on doing something with them, might have been more money. They could have put more money into something else. Not a diss. I love the attention to detail. Just that's a lot of money to be put into that. She's got, her daemon is named Pan. It looks like a ferret. Sometimes it looks like a white ferret. Sometimes it looks like a marmot, like a bigger, almost like a mink. There's her friend named Roger. He's got a daemon named Salcilia, who also looks like, I think, has a ferret. But there's like birds and all sorts of stuff running around. They seem to like transform all the time until they settle on a form. Which again, I'm just like, okay, what is this? Everybody's got one. And that's, leads me to like my first question that I'll pose to everybody is that if you had a daemon, what would you want it to be? Like, in its final form or whatever form it decides to finally take. What would you guys want it to be? I honestly don't know what I would want mine to be. I guess maybe if you're looking for something that's like your personality, then I don't know, man. I'd probably say a platypus, because I'm like a mix of a whole bunch of different things. but a platypus is not a very... it just kind of waddles around on the ground and is not that mobile, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. But the master, played by Clark Peters, tries to... Asriel comes back there to Oxford because he makes this great discovery. He's out there with the Aurora Borealis, and he has these pictures, and he gets this great discovery. He grabs a chunk of ice, and he's hanging out with the guy that says some really terrible things in the movie Gangs of New York, and he comes to Oxford, where the master tries to poison him. And that's one of the things about this, is like all the adults are very shady. They all seem to be really nice, but they all also seem to be kind of nuts, like evil behind them. Or not evil, but just like they seem to be doing some pretty terrible things and plans with each other. They all keep saying mean things about each other behind each other's back. There seems to be a lot of contention about, especially with what McAvoy's character Azrael was doing up north. And it seems to be like people don't want to know, but it's like people should know, and what we should or shouldn't know. There's a lot, and I even wrote down, like, after he explains, like, after he asks her to spy on him, why does he ask her to spy on him if he's in the room? He's sitting there, what, because he's giving his speech that he's not paying attention, that he wants her to focus on him, but then that really comes to nothing, too. Or maybe I'm missing something there, but she's spying, but she's supposed to be paying attention to him, to the master when they bring up dust, but then when they talk about it later, it really nothing comes of that. But he talks about this stuff called dust, and that it's attracted to adults, not kids. It seems to consume us almost, that we can't see it though. And when you look through a certain lens at the Aurora Borealis, there appears to be a hidden city in it. And they talk about other worlds and multiple worlds and all this stuff. And I'm just still going. And I wrote down, you can see it right there in the biggest letters, what the F is going on? Because I don't know what's going on. What is dust? What's the city in the sky? What are all the names of these people mean? Like Egyptian ways? Gobblers? They tell you nothing. They explain nothing. I thought maybe Egyptian are like gypsies. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything. I really don't. I want to know what's happening, but it's just not giving me any answers. This episode does feel like, for a pilot episode, you really need to know the source material. But like I said, maybe they'll start doling out the information. I would definitely love there to be like an after show where somebody that's read all the books and loves this material could explain it to me. I would love that. I can't wait to, maybe I'll watch somebody. Maybe I'll start searching for somebody else who like really knows this stuff. Yeah, gobblers. I don't know what that is. And like I said, all the adults are kind of jerks. They really are. Like, and not like in a way like they're talking down to kids really or anything. There's all this talk about prophecies and the child being important. Like this is like like old hat kind of stuff. But then they're just like, there's no time for this and no time for you and blah blah blah. My mission is so important in it. I just don't know. Like they're saying, they say all these things like we want to help you, but you shouldn't know any of this, and it's just, I don't know. It's old hat. I also get, when they show what I believe is the magisterium, I got a really strong sense that this world has a very... It seems like this world is mixed of two things. Like two main things that control it. One seems to be a very kind of religious, like, group, or I don't know, like a following, and education. And I don't know if those two things are at odds or what. Because it's just, and I don't know what magisterium means. It sounds like something magical, but it could mean something religious. I'm not sure. But it does seem like that. Like, yeah, like I said, religion and education, or scholastics, seem to be two of the major things in this world. We're introduced to Marissa Coulter, played by Ruth Wilson at this point, where I feel like she, right out the gate, the master's like, hey, this lady's here, and you and her might, blah, blah, blah. And she feels off right away. and very conveniently placed. Like, she's so interested all of a sudden. Like, she seems pre-prepared to meet Lyra. Like, this is not just some, like, lady who came in here because it's where she needs to be for the school. It seems like she's been pre-set up there to do what she's doing with Lyra, whatever she's going to do with Lyra. And we notice, like, when she talks about asking Roger to come with, it automatically, I felt like, oh, something's going to happen to Roger. Like, I was like, as soon as she said, like Coulter's face has this very subtle change to it when she says bringing him along. And, like, immediately we go to Roger, who's being stalked by the same fox that was there when Billy got taken, the kid, the young boy. He was taken by a person that had that same fox. And at this point, we actually do get, like, the golden compass. But they call it alethiometer. Alethiometer. And it's very rare, and it tells you the truth. And I was like, thanks, Captain Cryptic. Because it's just another thing that I don't understand. And at least the character doesn't understand. At least that's one thing we have in common. But we find out that 16 kids are gone. And Coulter, after offering her the position and everything, and Lyra finally, she makes it to the after looking for Roger and knowing that maybe Coulter will help her find him, because she's like, not only will I help you, but I'll succeed. And it just feels like she's a little too helpful. She's a little too willing to help. She's a little too busy trying to say maybe what Lyra wants to hear to get her to go along with things. See, I mean, kids may fall for this kind of thing, but I see right through this. I feel like there's way more that Miss Coulter is not saying. But I mean, that could be said about all the adults in this show. But this one in particular feels like she feels wrong. And that maybe the master, when him and that other guy were having that conversation about how she has to go on her own journey, and this great betrayal that she does to herself, that she can't know what's going on, that maybe they've kind of set this in motion a little bit and are allowing all this to happen because it has to happen. And again, I'm like, what is it? Why? Give me something. Give me something, man. Give me anything. Because she says, well, this is the best decision for both of us. Both of us. And I thought to myself, you mean you. It's best for you. Because, well, and that's the end of the episode. We see Roger in a cage, but, like, well, we see him in a room where he's got, like, this, like, netting or, like, this mesh that he can't get out. Where about, and the people, the Egyptians are going to London to try to find Billy. And Marissa Coulter and Lyra are going to London to find Roger on their way north. So, that's the first episode, and like I said, it wasn't boring. I was too busy trying to pay attention to what was going on to be bored. But I literally am lost. So... But this was it did a really good job at world building. And setting up this world. They just didn't explain any of it. And I do kind of like that maybe what some people might say is they're letting you figure things out for yourself. That they're not talking down to you. They're not, they're purposely not showing you so that when you start to pick things up along the way, you'll figure it out. And it's not holding your hand. It's like a Dark Souls game. Where you just got to figure it out. You got to get good at figuring out what his Dark Materials is actually about. But if you've already read the books, then you know, and you're laughing your ass off at some clown who doesn't know what is going on. But I am fascinated. I love the acting. I love the idea of the animals, humans, and they can talk. But like I said, it's a human soul inside an animal body. I don't know. I'm still trying to work out what kind of animal I would want to have as my, I don't know. But anyway, I'll think on that. Maybe we'll come up with something. So like I said, give me what you guys think in the comment section. So if you like this review, please hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber and you're enjoying the content on the channel, please become a subscriber. I tried to keep this relatively family friendly. I said a couple of bad words, but nothing too hard. I'm actually going to try. I'm going to still be honest. I'm going to still be me. I'm just going to try to be PG me a little bit more, since a lot of kids might be wanting to watch this. So I can't say and. I'm gonna bleep myself. Like I said, if you like the channel, please hit the subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications so that you never miss out on any of the videos. You can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun. Look at McAvoy just killing it there. Everybody, you can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun if you want to talk to me about anything, comics, movies, TV, or whatever. I usually share my stuff, so if you're on there and you're following me and you aren't notified on here, you will be notified for any videos. On the channel, we just put up, in the last few days, we got Watchmen Season 1, Episode 1, 2, and 3 reviews. We've got Batman the Animated Series. We've got the Outer Worlds gameplay on there. We are doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's up there. And The Mandalorian will be on here starting next Tuesday. So anyway, a lot of stuff is going on. Oh, and the movie review for The Nightingale. If you're an adult, that is a review you might want to check out for Jennifer Kent's latest movie. She did The Babadook. So this is Robin Smirking Interview saying thanks for watching this, folks. Have a great night. We'll see you next week. And enjoy the rest of the content on the channel. Peace out, everybody. Bye.